good little taste of, what's possible for this organization and for this franchise. And there's a lot for us to, hold our heads high about. This team won, I think, 5 games 2 years ago. So we're a young group, a pretty inexperienced group. But we came together and I had a lot of fun playing with one another. And
Caitlin Clark's latest decision is turning heads, but not for the reasons you might expect. While other players are chasing overseas contracts, she's taking a different path, one that leads right back home.
Get signed. I haven't thought too far down the line. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do the next day. So maybe play some golf. I think that's what I'm going to do until it gets too cold in Indiana. So I got that. I'll become a professional golfer.
Not too much, babe.
Instead of joining the European leagues or accepting that massive Unrivaled offer, Clark's focusing on something more valuable than money, her well-being. She's hitting the golf course, spending time with family, and actually taking a break.
We didn't have the gala last year, so to be able to do it this year, I'm really excited to be back out here.
It's definitely fun. It's fun to be here in the off season and be around all these people, interact with everybody. Obviously, it's my first time, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Everybody feels such ownership in this team, and they love these two teams.
What's interesting is how she's spending her downtime. On October 19th, 2024, Clark showed up at the Golden Gala for the Pacers Foundation, supporting youth and family services in Indiana. She's got a speaking gig lined up at the Women's Leadership Summit in Bel Air, Florida on November 12th. These aren't just appearances, they're choices that show where her heart is. Her personal life's just as grounded. Clark's dating Connor McCaffrey, an assistant coach at Butler University. No drama, no headlines, just two people building something real.
And I feel like those people are the people that know me best. Those are the people that I really care about. So, at the end of the day, basketball is basketball. It is what it is. And the people around me are what allow me to be really good at it, allow me to have a lot of fun, allow me to be myself. So I don't think it's anything on the court that I would pick. There's been a lot of great moments.
They've been spotted at Colts-Steelers games and Butler's open practices, keeping things impressively low-key. The Nike deal she landed, that's not just a paycheck, it's an empire in the making. We're talking $28 million over 8 years, plus partnerships with Gatorade, State Farm, and Gainbridge. She didn't need to chase extra money overseas because she's already building something sustainable at home. When she does want to stay active, Clark's hitting the golf course with her Fever teammate Lexi Hull. It's smart, keeping that competitive edge without the pressure. She started golfing back in 3rd or 4th grade.
I was once that little Iowa girl who was inspired to dream big, real big. And that dream was more than women's basketball. It was possibility that I turned into reality. I'm still that girl from Iowa, but now it's my turn to inspire. If I can drop 40, you can drop 50. If we can draw 56,000 fans, you can draw 57. If I can sign with Gatorade, you can too.
With her first set of pink clubs from her dad, some wild rumors started flying around about Clark secretly playing in the EuroLeague. The internet went crazy with stories about her somehow being in 2 places at once. But the timeline doesn't add up. While the EuroLeague kicked off on October 8th, Clark was busy making appearances in Indiana. Her social media tells the real story. Between posting TikToks about drive-through adventures and sharing golf outings with friends, it's pretty clear she's staying put. No secret European basketball career, just a young athlete smart enough to know when to rest. This isn't just about taking time off. It's about understanding what matters. Clark transformed the WNBA in her rookie season, breaking viewership records and filling arenas. Now she's showing that success isn't just about constant grinding. It's about making smart choices. She's taking time to reflect too. I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast. And then I came here, Clark explained. She's using this break to process everything that's happened and prepare for what's next. Her fans are getting something different too. Instead of watching her play year-round, they're seeing an athlete who knows her worth beyond the court. She's visiting patients, attending charity events, and building real connections in her community. The contrast with other players is striking. While some are complaining about rent or chasing overseas contracts, Clark's focused on building something lasting. She's dealing with the usual challenges, including some racist nonsense, but she's not letting it drain her energy anymore. This approach might just be her secret weapon for next season. While other players return exhausted from overseas leagues, Clark will be refreshed and ready. She's playing the long game, understanding that sometimes stepping back is the best way to move forward. Looking at Clark's choices, it's clear she's thinking beyond just basketball. She's building a foundation that could last long after her playing days are over. By staying true to herself and choosing peace over paychecks, she's writing her own playbook for success. That's the real story here. Not just an athlete taking time off, but a young star smart enough to know that sometimes the best moves happen off the court. When the WNBA season starts up again, don't be surprised if this break turns out to be Clark's smartest play yet.
Is a Angel Reese OnlyFans coming up next?
Reese's latest move has left fans and critics shocked. Angel Reese has joined OnlyFans, a platform known more for its adult content than its basketball highlights. It's a decision that's raised eyebrows across the sports world and beyond. Remember when Reese was the talk of the town after that national championship game? She was on top of the world, with everyone singing her praises. Fast forward to today, and it's like we're watching a whole different movie. Angel Reese exploded onto the basketball scene, wowing fans with her talent and charisma, but just as quickly, she's found herself at the heart of a controversy, shaking up the entire world of women's basketball.
The fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to.
But here's where things get interesting. Instead of owning her decision, Reese is pointing fingers. And guess who's in her crosshairs? None other than Caitlin Clark, the rising star of women's basketball. Reese is claiming it's all about race, saying Clark stole her spotlight. It's like watching a high school drama play out on a national stage. The contrast between Reese and Clark couldn't be more stark. While Clark's been busy breaking records and winning Rookie of the Year, Reese has been making headlines for everything but her game. It's like they're playing two different sports. Clark's playing basketball, while Reese seems to be playing a game of her own making.
Stupid, it's dishonest, she's just clout chasing.
Reese's behavior on and off the court has been raising eyebrows for a while now. From controversial social media posts to on-court antics, she's been creating drama left and right. Fans who once cheered her on are now shaking their heads, wondering what happened to the promising young athlete they once admired. The situation hit a new low when Reese appeared on a sports podcast, dressed in a way that had people talking more about her outfit than her basketball skills. It's like she's forgotten she's an athlete first and a celebrity second.
Social media again, doing things that, well, I mean, when you consider the things that she has talked about that she has been subjected to, it makes you kind of throw up your hands and go, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this kind of thing if you are constantly under fire, supposedly for being sexualized, as you want to call it?
But let's not forget the bigger picture here. Reese's actions aren't just affecting her, they're sending shockwaves through the entire world of women's basketball. Some worry that all this drama could undo years of progress in the sport. It's not just about two players anymore, it's about the image of women's basketball as a whole. Reese's decision to join OnlyFans has sparked a heated debate. Some see it as a bold move for female empowerment, while others view it as a step backward for women's sports. It's a conversation that's dividing fans, players, and coaches alike.
Angel Reese is the one that is going to hurt people's pocketbook.
The impact of Reese's choices is already being felt. TV ratings for women's basketball games have taken a hit, and some sponsors are getting nervous. Young players who once looked up to Reese are now left wondering if this is what it takes to make it in the sport.
Could you imagine if Caitlin Clark did this while her team's on a 7-game losing streak? Just think about that.
Other WNBA stars aren't happy either. They feel like they've been working hard to prove that women's basketball is about skill and not just looks. Reese's actions, they fear, are undermining all that hard work. But here's the kicker. Through all of this, Reese doesn't seem to be backing down. She's doubling down on her decisions, claiming it's all about female empowerment and making money. But is it really empowering to shift focus away from your athletic talents? A lot of people don't think so. The whole situation has sparked a larger conversation about the responsibilities of athletes in the age of social media. Where do we draw the line between personal expression and professional obligation? It's a question that doesn't have any easy answers. As this drama continues to unfold, one thing's for sure, the world of women's basketball will never be the same. Reese's journey from rising star to controversial figure has shaken up the sport in ways no one could have predicted. So what's next for Angel Reese? Will she realize what she's giving up and make a comeback on the court? Or is this just the beginning of a whole new career path? Only time will tell, but one thing's certain, her choices have changed the game, and not everyone thinks it's for the better.
Contract this? I want to say it's $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years. It's almost $30 million, something like that.
In the world of sports endorsements, things just got wild. Nike just dropped a bombshell with a new contract for Caitlin Clark, aiming to lock her in as their star while Adidas fights to take her away. The competition for her just hit a whole new level. Let's break it down. Before Clark even stepped foot on a WNBA court, Nike had her locked down with a deal that made everyone's jaws drop. We're talking serious cash and the promise of her very own shoe line.
Leftists are idiots. Idiots. They're not about business. They're not about growing the WNBA. They're about diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is insanity, what they're doing to Caitlin Clark.
But then, Nike pushed back the release date for Clark's signature shoe not once, but twice. It went from coming soon to maybe someday faster than you can say, airball. And while Nike was busy shuffling papers and twiddling their thumbs, Clark was out there setting the basketball world on fire. Adidas quietly stepped in while Nike wasn't paying attention and made their move, and they didn't play around. The offer was huge, enough to surprise even the pros. But it wasn't just about the money. Adidas was offering Clark something athletes hardly ever get.
However, I will say that Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million for 8 years as opposed to Wemby's 100.
Imagine being a rookie and suddenly having the power to shape your own brand, design your own campaigns, and connect with your fans on your own terms. It's like being handed the keys to the kingdom. Adidas wasn't just offering a contract, they were offering a partnership. Meanwhile, back at Nike HQ, alarms were going off. They suddenly realized they were about to lose the biggest thing in women's basketball since, well, ever. Clark wasn't just any player. She was the face of the WNBA, a record breaker, a game changer, and Nike had treated her like an afterthought.
WNBA season, it was announced that Caitlin Clark signed a massive endorsement deal with Nike. This deal was for 8 years, $28 million with a signature sneaker included. Now, at the time, a lot of us were...
So Nike did what any panicking corporate giant would do. They threw everything at the wall to see what would stick. Bigger bonuses? Check. Faster production timelines? You got it. A marketing blitz that would make Super Bowl ads look like local car dealership commercials? Absolutely.
He struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world? And with that, Nike has not done one thing to promote her. We have not seen any commercials. We have not seen any ads. We have not seen any Caitlin Clark merchandise. And we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlin Clark signature.
But here's the kicker. It might all be too little, too late. Clark's fans had been watching and they weren't happy. They saw how Nike sidelined their idol, pushing other players to the forefront while Clark was left waiting in the wings. And in the age of social media, fan loyalty can make or break a brand. Now, this whole mess isn't just playing out in boardrooms and on basketball courts. Oh no, it's headed for the courtroom. Nike's not just trying to win back Clark, they're gearing up to sue Adidas. They're claiming Adidas played dirty, trying to lure Clark away despite her existing contract. It's like watching two heavyweight boxers squaring up, with Clark caught in the middle of the ring. On one side, you've got Nike, the reigning champ, desperate to hold on to their title. On the other, Adidas, the scrappy challenger willing to bend the rules for a shot at the crown.
So in conversations with people in the know, it indeed has something to do with the WNBA MVP and Nike athlete, A'ja Wilson. But beyond Wilson, it's about the culture at the company. that's more concerned with quelling noise rather than making it, as Nike once used to.
And let's not forget what's really at stake here. This isn't just about shoes or contracts. It's about the future of women's basketball. Clark has single-handedly revitalized the WNBA, bringing in viewers by the millions and turning regular season games into must-see events. She's not just a player, she's a phenomenon.
This will be a whole new offering and probably tap into a market that Nike and other sports apparel companies really haven't before.
You know what the contract is? I want to say it's $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years. It's almost $30 million, something like that.
The brutal realization finally hit Nike, and they showed a middle finger to Adidas with the new Caitlin Clark contract. But the biggest shocker here is that Nike's not only
The real irony, while Nike and Adidas battle it out, they're both missing the bigger picture. Clark deserves far more than what either is offering. She's outshining veteran players, breaking records, and pulling in crowds that rival NBA teams. Yet, despite all the hype, her deal is still a fraction of what top male athletes earn. It shows the ongoing gap in sports. Clark has changed the game, but she's being treated like a bargaining piece instead of the MVP she truly is. No wonder Adidas's offer was so appealing. They seem to understand her real worth, both on and off the court. As this drama unfolds, it's raising some big questions about the sports industry as a whole. How do we value athletes, especially women, in a world where social media influence can be just as important as on-court performance? Are the old ways of doing business still relevant in a rapidly changing landscape? One thing's for sure, whatever happens next, it's going to shake up the industry. If Clark ends up with Adidas, it could signal a shift in power dynamics, showing that even giants like Nike aren't invincible. If she stays with Nike, it might force the company to rethink how they treat their athletes, especially the rising stars. And let's not forget the fans in all this. They're the ones who've been riding with Clark from day one, filling arenas and blowing up social media with every game. They're watching this corporate tug of war with a mix of fascination and frustration. After all, they just want to see their idol get the respect and recognition she deserves. As we wait to see how this all shakes out, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark has changed the game, both on and off the court. She's shown that women's basketball can pull in the big crowds and the big bucks. She's proven that a rookie can have the kind of star power that makes corporate giants sweat. Whatever happens next, whether Clark ends up with Nike or Adidas or decides to start her own shoe company, hey, stranger things have happened, one thing's for certain, the sports world will never be the same. Clark has set a new standard, not just for women's basketball, but for how athletes should be valued and treated. So here we are, watching two giants of the sports world duke it out over one incredible athlete. On one side, we've got Nike, the established king trying to hold on to their crown. On the other, Adidas, the challenger ready to risk it all for a shot at the top. And in the middle of it all, Caitlin Clark is the rookie who's shaking up not just the WNBA, but the entire sports industry. Whatever happens next, one thing's for sure, the game will never be the same.
Everything else, y'all owe us a debt. And damn it, if we are participating in a sport that loses money for 27 straight years, damn it, you better fly as commercial. You better fly as private.
The WNBA's 2024 season was about to bankruptcy as Clark and Reese left the WNBA. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese played in the league. Everyone thought we'd see the sport reach new heights. And in many ways, it did. But here's the kicker. The New York Post just dropped a bombshell, claiming the league's about to take a $40 million hit this season. Talk about a plot twist. Let's break it down. Since these two superstars hit the court, we've seen some crazy good results. Sold out crowds? Check. Merchandise flying off the shelves? You bet. TV ratings through the roof? Absolutely. ESPN's viewership shot up by a whopping 170%. And get this, there were over 100 more sold-out games compared to last year. That's not just good, that's insane. The WNBA's 2024 season was a roller coaster with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese taking center stage. These two rookies shook things up, but the league's still in a financial pickle. Let's break it down.
Since the Marina Mabry trade, and she has stepped up her game in that opportunity. Caitlin Clark for three, rattles it around for her first deep shot.
Well, she's definitely taken that golden advice, recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20-plus point rebound games.
I saw that online. Look, she plays hard. I like the way she plays. I love her. I love the way Caitlin Clark is playing.
Clark and Reese faced off 4 times when the Indiana Fever met the Chicago Sky. Clark's team came out on top, winning 3 out of 4 games. Clark played all 40 games this season, while Reese managed 34 before a wrist injury sidelined her. Looking at the numbers, Clark's got the edge in most areas. She averaged 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game. Reese, known for her rebounding skills, averaged 13.6 points and a whopping 13.1 rebounds per game. Clark shot better too, with a 41.7% field goal percentage and a 34.4% three-point percentage. Reese shot 39.1% from the field but struggled from behind the arc, hitting only 18.8% of her threes. For the whole season, Clark racked up 769 points, 337 assists, and 53 steals. Reese totaled 462 points and led the league in rebounds with 446. She even set a record for most rebounds in a single season before an injury cut her run short.
They get a gift sent to them called Caitlin Clark. She is sprinkling magic all around the WNBA, making a sport that no one likes likable and watchable. And instead of showing any gratitude towards Caitlin Clark, they have set out to destroy Caitlin Clark. This is what women do.
So what's the deal? Why is the league still losing cash? Well, they were bracing for a $52 million loss when the season kicked off. But let's be real, that's still a lot of money to lose.
They have so little understanding of who actually built the league that they're playing in, who's carried the weight of the league that they're playing in, who has financed their charity league. They have no gratitude towards those people.
The WNBA's problem? It's just not raking in enough dough to turn a profit. They're pinning their hopes on a $2.2 billion media rights deal that's set to kick in during the 2026 season. But even with that, the numbers aren't adding up.
Reflecting back on Caitlin Clark's rookie season, I have honestly never seen a company fumble the bag so hard like the WNBA fumbled Caitlin Clark.
League exec spilled the tea to the New York Post, saying, WNBA owes the NBA so much we won't see any windfall for years. Now, with the Indiana Fever, Clark's team, out of the playoffs, and Chicago Sky dealing with Reese's injury, the league's immediate future isn't looking too rosy. It's like the basketball gods decided to throw a wrench in the works, just when things were getting good. But let's talk about Angel Reese for a second. She recently opened up about her WNBA salary, and it's not pretty. It doesn't cover my bills, she said. When one of your biggest stars is saying they can't make ends meet, you've got a problem. The WNBA is banking on more players like Clark and Reese to help them break free from the NBA's shadow. It's a tall order, but crazier things have happened in sports. So, what's the takeaway here? The WNBA's in a weird spot. On one hand, they've got these incredible players bringing in fans and making the game more exciting than ever. On the other, they're still hemorrhaging money like there's no tomorrow. It's like they're stuck in this bizarre limbo, too successful to ignore, but not quite successful enough to stand on their own 2 feet. The big question is, can they keep this momentum going? Can they find a way to turn all this buzz into cold, hard cash? Or are they going to be